Before you start float fishing, the most important step in this technique is probably float balancing. And to balance a float can really determine whether you catch a lot of fish or no fish at all. So if you put a float on the line and tie a hook at the end of it and simply chuck into the water, and what's going to happen is that float is going to sit sideways on the top of the water. What you really want to do is to tie some weight onto the line so you will actually sink the float a little bit. And if you look at the float, most of them have a little line on top of the float, and that line usually suggests where that water should be lying. And how much weight do you add onto the float? Well, that's pretty simple. Most commercially bought float has a number on it, and that number usually represents how much weight you should add to balance it. So here we have a D&E balsa float, which on it says 25 grams, and that suggests you should probably put 25 grams of weight onto it. The amount of weight you add onto the line, really, it doesn't have to be 25 exact. It can be a little more, a little less. It really depends on the river current, on the density of water, whether you're fishing the salt water or fresh water. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put a little bit of weight onto it and chuck in the water and see what happens. And now that amount of weight definitely sinks the float a little bit, but it's not enough because it actually only brings the float to bring the water surface to the middle part of the float. So if the fish pulls it, you can't really see the bite because that float will just wiggle a little bit. You won't even see properly, and therefore you wouldn't be catching that many fish. Okay, so now we have a little bit more weight. Let's chuck it in and see what happens. Well, we're almost there. The float definitely sinks a little bit further down. It still doesn't reach the black line, the black and yellow line on the top yet. So we need to map with a little bit more weight. Okay, so now we've added actually 2 sliding weights onto it. It's quite a bit of weight, and hopefully that's enough to balance it. Perfect. So that float, it's almost balanced. It's just slightly below the line where the water surface is sitting at. So you can add a slightly more weight, but this is actually good enough. And one final thing, we'll just show you what happens when you add too much weight onto the line. So this time we got 3 sliding weights on the line, and I think this is definitely too much weight for the float. Oh, definitely too much. As you can see, the float sinks straight down to the bottom, and when that happens, you're not going to see whether the fish is biting or not, because the whole float is submerged, and the whole point of this float is to have that orange part on top of the water, so when the fish bites, it will actually dip down a little bit, and that's when you know you have to strike the fishing rod. For more information on fishing in British Columbia, please check out our website at fishingwithrod.com, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions regarding float balancing or any other float fishing technique questions, please leave a comment, and I'm always happy to answer them. So until next time, good luck fishing.